Hello, everybody. This is Jacob Sapochnik. This is the Enchanting Lawyer Podcast. And today I have a very exciting guest on the show. And we're going to be talking about a very hot topic, Instagram. And today's guest is Jenn Herman. Jenn is a social media trainer and Instagram advocate who writes her blog, Jenn's Trends, focus on helping small business owners understand trends in social media management. And she's a prolific user of Instagram and very passionate about it. And Jenn, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk about Instagram.
Yes, absolutely. I'm excited as well. And just so you know, I want to tell our listeners, so I am actually in Israel right now, and Jenn is in my hometown in San Diego. And it's always, I'm always amazed with the wonders of technology and how people are able to connect no matter where they are in the world. And again, I think Instagram is one of those tools that help people, shine on what they do in their life, what their businesses, and we'll talk more about that. Jenn, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and then we can dive into the topic.
Sounds good. Yeah. So, as you kind of went over a little bit in the bio, I have a blog called Jenn's Trends. I started it a couple years ago, and I started it more with the intention of just teaching business owners how to overcome the challenges of social media. It was something I was experiencing in my day job, getting upper management and certain people on board with understanding how social media works. And so I started the blog with the intention of just educational, content and kind of having fun with it. And during the process of working on my blog and building my audience, I really got into the Instagram thing. And I'm the first person to always admit this, that I'm a late adopter to Instagram. All my friends were on it, telling me I had to be on it. And my whole thing was, who needs another platform? I do not need to be on Instagram. I got Facebook, I got Twitter, I got Pinterest, who needs Instagram? But because of my blog, I figured, well, I better figure this thing out. So I got involved with, taking more photos and trying to see how the Instagram thing worked. And no joke, totally got obsessed with it, fell in love with the platform. I loved so much about it, the simplicity of it, the instant interaction of it. The level of engagement was through the roof compared to any other platform. And I started to really think about how this could be applied to businesses. And I started doing a bunch of research. How can businesses use Instagram? And all the content out there was very superfluous and very, 5 tips to get more followers. But it was, the most generic tips out there. And there was no real good advice. And I figured, hey, I've got a blog, I've got the platform, and I love this tool. So I started writing all these how-to blogs and all these, tips and advice on how to, use Instagram for marketing. And kind of blew up from there, and it's now become my niche, and it's become something that I'm known for, which I love, because I love teaching businesses how to use a tool that isn't necessarily your first instinct. Especially, I know a lot of your audience, Jacob, are in kind of the service industry, that they might not understand. They don't have a product. They're not necessarily a visual type company. So how do they use Instagram? And I love working with companies in that capacity to show them that really everything you do can be told through a visual story, and Instagram is an amazing tool to be able to do that.
Right. And we'll talk about some examples later on. But what do you think businesses should consider using Instagram now more than ever?
Well, first of all, Instagram is the biggest, baddest, meanest social media platform out there right now. It's growing at rates that we've not seen on any other platform. It has surpassed every other platform in terms of, the growth ratios and people jumping on board. But it's not just because it's the new fun thing. I mean, there's lots of new fun things that come on the market, but Instagram's been around for years. It's just that it really is the simplicity of the platform that a lot of people really connect with. And because of the way the platform is set up, which is kind of like, I always tell people, it's kind of like a visual Twitter. It's kind of a faster moving thing. But you don't have to read anything. So people love that it's photos. You don't have to necessarily read something. You're not looking at links, and you're not reading a long text post on Facebook, or, trying to, find a link from Twitter or those kind of things. It's very instant. You can really tell the story. So that's really good in our kind of instant gratification society. Love instantly, can get straight it's owned by, I mean, Facebook saw the value of the platform, and Facebook's many times. We all know that, and the fact that Facebook put so much time, resources, and energy into building Instagram platform just shows how valuable it is. And make a lot of ads in the conversation, but there is a lot of growth opportunities Instagram board. And finally, just being agent, the ability to reach out to new people and the ability to get likes and comments at rates 15 times greater than Facebook and huge jumps compared to what you see on Twitter. It's just such an amazing way to really connect with your audience that I always say this, any business can use Instagram, any business, whether you're, you could be a mortuary for all I care, and you could be on Instagram. Right. Doesn't necessarily mean it is for everybody, but really anybody can use it. And I hope that we can cover some of those highlights for your audience today.
And I agree with you 100%. I mean, I've been using Instagram for the past year, and while we're a law firm, the way I use it is just kind of to show the human side behind what I do, and so just to connect with people so they feel more close to me, because maybe they see my trip photos, maybe they see when I do a recording on my podcast or whatever I do. There's just more of a connection, and I can see that the kind of people who communicate with me on Instagram are very different than the ones that I get on Facebook. So I agree with you that it's a very personal type of platform. Do you have any information about the engagement on Instagram? Is it kind of on the rise? And among all the other social networks, is it one that is growing a lot right now?
Yeah, in terms of engagement, I mean, it is the fastest growing platform right now. It does have, as of a few months ago, we have over 300 million monthly active users on Instagram. I believe at this point it's surpassed Twitter in terms of monthly active users. So when everyone turns around and says no one's using Instagram or it's only for the kids, it's surpassed Twitter, and everyone always kind of used Twitter as that holy grail. So it is there, and it's growing. And the thing is, unfortunately, Instagram isn't really fast at telling us an update. So they'll be like, oh, we hit 300 million active users. And then like a month later, they're probably at 400. They just haven't told us yet. But they are growing exponentially fast. And one of the things is, how on Facebook and you go through and if you like something, then all your friends see that so-and-so liked so-and-so's post. And so people tend to be less active on Facebook in terms of liking things or commenting on things because it's so public, and you might not want to put a like on something that now all your friends are going to see, that you want to kind of keep that as a more personal interaction. Whereas on Instagram, you can like as many things as you want, and no one's really going to know what you liked or didn't like or comment on unless they actually look at that post. So you do generate a lot more engagement, and because it's so easy, it's the double tap to like. You scroll through, and I'm notorious for this. I scroll through my feed, and I double tap on almost every single photo because I'm following people I actually like, the things I actually want to see. Unlike a lot of the Facebook things that just show you what it wants to show you, not what you want to see. And so it does encourage that engagement. As I mentioned, the average engagement for Instagram is 15 times higher than what you'll see on Facebook. The average engagement per post right now on Instagram is about 5 to 6%. So that's a standard average. Of course, this is going to depend on the size of your audience, how targeted your audience is, and all these kind of things. But if you assume that the average engagement on Twitter is like 0.0102%,
that's true.
And on Facebook, your average engagement's 1 or 2%. The fact that you're getting a 6% engagement on Instagram on a daily basis is exponentially larger than what you're going to see anywhere else. So just that alone just shows the power of the audience and the community, because it really is a community environment on Instagram.
Right. It feels like kind of a private club in a way that, if you are on it and you're engaged, then you get the love from the people who are following you.
Exactly.
And Jen, just for the few people in our audience that are not familiar with Instagram, why don't you explain briefly what it is and how do people use it before we dive into the amazing changes that are happening on that platform?
Of course. So Instagram, like I kind of insinuated, it's like a visual Twitter. So basically, when you log into your Instagram account and you go to your home feed, you're going to see picture after picture after picture that are going to scroll through the feed. Everything is a square photo. So if you see something that's rectangular, it's because they've actually cropped it to fit within a white square background or something. But all photos on Instagram are square. And that is something to consider when you do your photos. If you've taken a horizontal or, a vertical type photo, you have to think about when you upload it to Instagram that you are going to be cropping that to a square and you're going to lose certain content. So if you have an iPhone, you can actually set your camera to a square setting, or you can use the Instagram camera within the app that automatically takes everything as a square photo. But so you go through and you look at all these gorgeous photos, but you can add captions as well. And this is where the real value from a marketing perspective comes in, is you can still tell a story through words. It's not just the visual story. You can use captions, and then people can leave comments. As I mentioned, it's a double tap to like. It's a heart is what is a like. And so if there's a little red heart, that means you've liked something. And you can leave a comment. So you can, ask a question, you can respond, you can thank somebody. And that goes back and forth between the person who posted or the people who are seeing your posts. If your account is public, which is the most important thing as a business, public means anybody can follow you. If your account is private, which would be more if you wanted to show, just connect with your friends and family on a personal level, then you would want to lock your account, be private, in which case people have to request to follow you. So as a business, we obviously want to encourage you to go public, and this way anyone can follow you and see all of your content. It's in that way, like I said, it's much like Twitter. You're public, anyone can follow you and see your content. You can follow whoever you like as well. I always recommend people follow people that you're interested in. Mm-hmm. So don't just follow accounts just because they followed you. Same kind of, Twitter type rules in that context. Follow people who make it interesting for you. It's your Instagram feed. You're going to want to see pictures that you want to see. So go through, find, friends, family, coworkers, associates, celebrities, anything like that makes it interesting for you. And then it's really the most important thing, like any social media site, is going to be the consistency. You want to be posting on a regular basis. So whether that's once a week or once a day, you don't want to have that stale account where you go gung ho and you've posted, 5 times in 1 week and then you go absent for 3 months. Then you come back and post, 3 times a day for 2 weeks and then you go absent for 5 months again. So it's about consistency and being actively involved. The more active you are, the more people engage with you. And as we were kind of talking about, it really is a community-based environment where I've actually met business colleagues and friends through Instagram. That was how we first connected. So it really is that network and kind of relationship building site.
And it's so personal because some of the things you post are probably things that you may not necessarily post on Facebook. Maybe you can post on both, but there could be a bit more of a, you want to showcase maybe your clothes, or maybe you want to showcase where you are on vacation, and you can just keep it on Instagram because you want your audience on Instagram to see it if they want to follow you there, right? So it's kind of more
absolutely, and just like we always say with any social media, you can share back and forth between sites, but we always want to give something exclusive. So you want to give people a reason to follow you on Instagram. If you put every Instagram post on Facebook, then why would they follow you on Instagram? Because they're going to see it on Facebook. So you want to give them a reason. So like you were saying, yeah, maybe you show a bit more of the behind the scenes posts or more of your personal posts on one side or the other. Instagram is really good for all those. Like I said, that it's that visual storytelling. So if you want to share that, kind of personal side and humanize your brand, it's a great platform to do that. And, let's say, for example, Jacob, you're obviously on vacation, maybe you're going to share most of your vacation photos to your Instagram account. You can share 1 or 2 to Facebook and say, right, hey, I'm on vacation in all these great countries. Come see me over on Instagram to see the rest of the photos. So now you've encouraged your Facebook audience to come see you on Instagram to get the rest of the story.
And this is actually very interesting because the call to action is very, very unique on Instagram because, and I want you to explain that, because you can, unlike Facebook where we can share as many links as we want in our posts, on Instagram we can only share the hyperlink on in our bio. So it's only one. So we have to be very creative. How do we send people to places we want them to take action? So why don't you explain about that feature and why is it like that on
And
Instagram.
I'm so glad you brought this up, and I love talking about this topic. And people think I'm crazy when I first say this, but I love that there's
Hmm.
only one place you can put a hyperlink. I love
Okay.
it.
Why is that?
And the reason why
Hmm.
is because it prevents the link dropping. It prevents the spamaholic marketers who just want to go out there and link drop on every site and come look at this and come look
Oh,
at that and come buy this.
interesting.
It forces you to be more creative, and it forces us to use Instagram in an organic way, which is to share a photo and tell a story. Then you can, and if anyone wants to go look at my Instagram account, it's Jenn's JENNS underscore trends TRENDS. And as a blogger, I post all of my new blog posts
Hmm.
on Instagram. I advertise them all. And I do a really simple call to action. So I give the image is the blog post image, so everyone recognizes it, they know it's my blog post image. And then in the caption, I give a quick recap of what is in that blog post. Give them a reason to be enticed to want to go read it. Why is it valuable? And then I put really simple, click on the link in my bio. That simple call to action tells them what to do.
Hmm.
So now they go and click on my photo, they go to my bio, and there's the hyperlink that will take them right to my blog, which takes them to the most recent blog post where they can now read that blog post. And so, it forces me to, actually give my audience a reason to want to come see me. So it forces me as a marketer to be more creative and more engaged with my audience. But it also drives the best traffic. The average bounce rate from Instagram is 0 because you've
Wow.
already made people jump through a couple hoops. You've made them hit 2 or 3 buttons to get to your website. So it isn't an accidental click. It wasn't one of those things where the page was refreshing and you thought you were clicking on one thing, but then when the refreshed, it took you to some link of something you don't want to see. And you didn't, it wasn't a link bait, where you think you're reading one article and it's something else and you jump off. It, you don't get those high bounce rates. So once you get people on your website, they're highly targeted traffic, and that is the most rewarding thing you can get out of social media. So if you're using it to look for new clients or lead generation or ways of, sharing the latest blog post or trying to share tips and information from your website that would help your audience, this is such a powerful tool. You use a good image, use a
Hmm.
good description, and then the call to action says click on the link in my bio. And now the most important thing, though, is that that link has to take them to the right place. I always use the example of, because, I'm a girl and I love to shop,
Right.
and I know a lot of other people can relate to this, though, but the worst thing was when you walk into a department store and you see the perfect outfit on the mannequin, and you're like, oh my gosh, I need that whole outfit head to toe.
Hmm.
Oh, but the jacket's on the 3rd floor, and the shirt's somewhere down in the basement on a clearance rack, and the shoes are somewhere on the second. Like, you can't find anything because they're not where you saw it originally. And that's what you have to think about when you think about that link in your bio on Instagram. They've already done 2 or 3 clicks. You don't want to send them to your homepage where now they have to navigate through 3 more clicks and trying to find what it was you told them to do. So make sure
Right.
that you're giving them either clear instructions on where to go or that link is taking them exactly to the page you want them to. So it could be your lead gen page, it could be your sales page, it could be your blog page, whatever that is that you want them, whatever action you want them to take, make sure that you're getting them there as quickly as possible.
And it's easy to change that as often as you need.
You can literally change it hourly if you
Hmm.
wanted to. That would be a little intense, I think. But
Yeah,
yes, you can
it's
change
doable.
it weekly. You can change it, like if you're running a campaign, maybe let's say you've got something going on that you've got, an event that you're sponsoring or a charity event that you're doing and you wanted people to sign up for the charity event, then you could put that link in there and then you could go back to your default, which maybe is your blog when the charity event is over. So there's different ways that you could use that and switch it out to however best suits your business and your audience.
Perfect. So now that we understand more or less what Instagram is and the benefits, let's talk about some of the amazing changes that just announced about a week ago, right? And if you want to kind of
Yeah.
go through this.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been a couple of big changes in the last actually couple months. I swear every week Instagram is keeping me on my toes with all their new running updates. I can't keep up with it. I come home
Yeah.
and I'm like, wait, what? Like, what just happened? So one of the biggest things that happened, which I really want to make sure we point out, is that Instagram is now going to have ads for all businesses. And this is big, big news because up until literally a few weeks ago, the only people who could get ads on Instagram were the big companies. Like I'm talking, like the Ben and Jerry's,
Yeah.
Coca-Cola, McDonald's, and they were hundreds of thousands of dollars to run a simple campaign. It was impractical for anyone to be involved as a small business. And I have to admit, they made me eat my words. I told all my clients, I was like, oh, they're never going to run ads. Oh, it's never going to happen. Don't hold your breath. And like a week later, they announced ads were rolling out. I was like, oh, okay, thanks, Instagram. But it is really good news. And the best part about it is because Instagram is owned by Facebook, the integration for the ad platform is going to be through your Facebook Ads Manager. And this is so, so important because you don't need to learn a new tool. You don't need to figure anything out. If you're already using a Facebook page and you're already running Facebook ads, the Instagram ads are going to run concurrently or separately through your Facebook Ads Manager. So you can run the same ad on both platforms. You can run it just on Facebook or you can run it just on Instagram. And it's all going to be the same functions. So carousel ads, which have come out first on Instagram, these are the ones where if you go through, there's actually 4 images per ad and you can scroll left and right. They've introduced those now on Facebook as well. So you can run a carousel ad for Instagram. You can run a single ad on Instagram. It's either way, whatever you do, it's all going to be run through the Facebook Ads Manager, which is huge, huge news. And it's going to make everybody really happy. So at least, like I said, and then the pricing platform should be the same. There should be a similar pricing structure to what you're used to on Facebook. So you don't have to worry about something where now all of a sudden, oh, we have Instagram ads, but it's going to cost us $5,000 a month. You should still be able to run them for a reasonable price, whether it's, $10 a day or whatever your normal budget range is. So that's super exciting. And then the other big thing that just came out was that Instagram introduced an upgrade to their search feature. And anybody who knows me knows that the one thing I've always complained about on Instagram is their search functionality. It still isn't great. I'm not going to, rave, too much about the new search function, but they have definitely enhanced it and made it much more functional. So one of the big things, and this may not be as applicable to your audience specifically, Jacob, unless you're an actual kind of physical location. But they added a places feature on the search tab. So this is really important for local-based businesses to be able to get found now on the Instagram search tool. And so let's say, for example, if you have, let's say you're a CPA and you actually have a physical location that actually comes up in either like a Facebook location search or an Instagram search. If someone started typing in on Instagram for looking for a CPA in your location, in your area, you would actually come up now in that search. And this is a really important change because until recently, this was something that was pretty much exclusive to Facebook in terms of that search functionality, whereas now it's on Instagram and people can start looking for local businesses. And people are on Instagram. I mean, I'm on Instagram probably way more than I should admit to, but tens of 20 times a day, whatever it is. So it is easy if you're just on Instagram and you just start searching, people are going to, look for things. Same thing goes with whether it's legal advice or things like that. If you have that brick and mortar, physical location, this could be a really powerful tool in the long run.
And I think this is great because I still remember when Facebook came out with the search option a couple of years ago, and that was huge for small businesses. And we covered it in several blogs. So now, what do you have to do to activate that feature? Do you just have to kind of activate your local option on Instagram?
All you have to do is you have to be in their search database for a location. And to be found in their search location means you need to either be registered as a physical location on Facebook and or Foursquare. Okay. That's where Instagram gets all their location data from. So, for example, let's say you were looking for like an ice cream shop or whatever. If you're an ice cream store and you're listed on Facebook as an actual physical location, chances are you're going to show up in the Instagram search for that same business because it's going to pull from the Facebook data. And then likewise from Foursquare. So if you are any sort of a physical business, make sure that you are registered as a physical business with an actual physical location on Facebook and Foursquare, and then that will pull automatically into the Instagram. So there isn't anything you actually have to do for Instagram to get listed as a business.
But how about being more visual and showing up higher in the search? Once you're listed on Facebook and Foursquare, is there anything you can do inside Instagram to make your listing show up higher, as far as you know?
No, it's going to, so first and foremost, it's going to look at your geographical location. So it's going to, obviously your GPS is enabled. And so if you're, standing, let's say in downtown San Diego, it's going to look for whatever that keyword location is in your general vicinity. So if you're, like I said, downtown San Diego, it's going to give you the downtown locations before it's going to start giving you anything up, 10, 15, 20 miles away, depending on how many locations there are. So if you're looking for, an immigration lawyer, it's going to give you whatever results come up within that vicinity as close to you as possible, because it's going to assume you're looking for something close to you. So that's the most important thing, is being the physical location. But there is no advantage to either, like there's no running an ad or using a certain keyword or anything like that that's going to put you higher in the search. But you do want to make sure that whatever you want to be known for is in your title or your name or something like that. So for example, if you are a lawyer, you want something where the term lawyer is going to come up in the search.
Like in our case, for example, I named my account San Diego Immigration Lawyer, so I guess if somebody's going to look for that, I should hopefully come up in the top.
Exactly. And that's the most important thing, is if you have, like you said, you got San Diego, which is key, and then you have immigration, which is key, and you have lawyer. I mean, those are the three important keywords that are going to pop up that are going to be most likely what people are looking for. And that can be either in your username or your business name. It's important that we think about that, because they're two different things, but those are the only things that are searchable on Instagram. So whatever you put in your bio means nothing in terms of search. So it means it tells a story, it connects with your audience, but the only things that are searchable on Instagram are your actual business name. So in your case, you might have, the name of your actual law firm, and then your username might be more of what you're known for, like what type of legal work you do.
Right.
So the username is how people will recognize you and learn about you on Instagram. When you post or like or anything, they see your username. So that's the branding you want to consider. And that's where, in the username and name, that's where you want to have those keywords that people are most likely to search for.
Excellent. And you mentioned also something about changes to the direct messages on Instagram. What are some of those changes?
Well, direct messages have been growing and getting bigger, better, as more and more people get used to them. So direct messages were introduced a little while ago, kind of to a lot of fanfare, but kind of died off. They're very similar to what you would get, with a private message on Facebook or anything on, Twitter via direct message and that kind of thing. So a couple things to keep in mind with direct messages is you can send them to up to 15 people. However, if you do a group direct message, it is a group message. You're sending it to all 10 people. All 10 people will see the other people invited to that conversation. So it's not like you sent it to 10 people individually. You did send a group conversation. So just keep that in mind. And all direct messages need to be instigated with a photo or a video. So you can't just say, hey, I'm going to, DM so-and-so.
Right.
It has to be initiated with a photo. So you can go through and once someone has seen it, you'll see a little check mark next to their name in the direct message. And if they've commented, they'll get a little comment bubble. So you can, if you've sent out a direct message to someone and they remain kind of like watermarked, kind of grayed out, it means they haven't seen the message. Now, you will get a notification that you got a direct message, but you have to go to your home feed, which is where you see, most of your normal content, not your own personal bio, but with all the people you follow. And in the top right corner, there's a little inbox looking thing, and that's where the notification will be that you have a direct message.
Right.
So it's not really intuitive. There's no big flashing red buttons or anything that say you have a direct message. And if someone wants to send you a direct message, but you're not following them, they have to request to send you a direct message. So you'll see pending request and you have to approve it. So if it's somebody you don't know and you don't want to accept it, However, if you're running it from a business perspective, chances are that's somebody trying to communicate with you. Go ahead and give them permission, then you can see their photo, and usually they're asking a question or something that they don't want to ask in a public forum. And this is really, really powerful tool for people in your industry, whether it's the legal or, in accounting or things like that, where someone might not want to post something publicly and be like, hey, can you give me some legal advice?
Right.
So
Exactly.
they're more likely to want to send you a direct message. So really encourage your audience to take advantage of that tool to be able to have a one-on-one conversation with you that, it could just be to initiate the conversation, and maybe then you turn around and say, here's my phone number, call the office, or here's an email, feel free to contact me for more information. And then you can take it offline. But it is a really good way to initiate that interaction with your audience on a more personal level.
Exactly, and again, this is something personal, and the value of this is that you actually create a bond with whoever you're interacting more than you can do on Facebook, which is really, really kind of a mess right now. So, Jen, as we come to the end of our show, for somebody who wants to get started, what will be some of the tips you can share with us to make it more effective and an easy, smooth transition to make it fun using Instagram?
Yeah, for sure. So first and foremost, get on Instagram and learn how to use it as a user. Remember that Instagram is not like Facebook, it's not like Twitter in terms of a marketing platform. It is designed for users. So get on there and just play with it for a little while as a user. Follow some people, see how people interact, get a really good feel for the audience and the lingo and the conversations and the way people kind of behave on Instagram before you start using it for marketing. Then you want to pick a really good profile photo. I always recommend you use the same photo that you use on Twitter and Facebook. Allow for that consistency so that people that now come over and find you on Instagram immediately know it's you. That profile photo becomes your branded recognition that people know it's you. As we kind of talked about, you want to create a username that people will recognize that has your, maybe lawyer or something, whether it's CPA or accountant or whatever that kind of keyword is about what you do in your username. Have a great business name listed as your actual name. Have a really good bio that has some personality, describes what you do, how to reach you. Maybe you want to list your either your physical address or your phone number. And then use that URL, as we talked about. Use that URL to send to a direct location that you're going to use those call to actions in your photos. And then it's going to come down to just creating really good content. You don't want to just post photos for the sake of posting photos. You want to have a strategy. You want to have a plan, just like every other social media site.
Right.
But get creative. Humanize the brand. Show your office. Show the people that work in your office. Show what you do. If clients want to take a photo with you and advertise that they work with you, then definitely showcase that. Show happy clients. Certain times of the year tend to be more rushed for certain, industries, obviously tax season or things like that. Showcase how you're helping people or take advantage of those seasons to create really good content that is going to resonate with your audience.
Excellent. Great tips, and hopefully our listeners found some value there. And Jen, why don't you share with us where we can find you, your website, your Twitter, and of course your Instagram credentials, and we're going to link those in our show notes.
For sure. So my blog is jenstrends.com. That's my whole website. My blog is there /blog. But it's JENNSTRENDS. Yes, I grew up in the 80s as one of a million Jennifers, so I'm the Jen with two N's.
Yeah.
So you can come to my website. You can find everything you need on my website. Every Monday, my blog posts are dedicated to Instagram topics, and it's all Instagram marketing. It's not Instagram, fluff and foofa. It's all hard-hitting, actionable tips. Every month, I do an Instagram case study, and I pick a different account from different industries and showcase how they're using Instagram well. So I really encourage your audience to come find those case studies and learn and see what other companies are doing well and how they can use that to their advantage. And then you can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at JENNS_TRENDS. That's Jen's_trends. And I'm also on Facebook at Jen's Trends Online.
Excellent. And so be sure to follow Jen everywhere. And I thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure. And I personally learned a lot, and I'm going to make some improvements to my own account. And thank you, our listeners, for tuning in every week. And your questions you can send to me at jacob@enchantinglawyer.com. And we look forward to seeing you at our next episode next week. Thank you.